Okay, good morning. Today is Tuesday. There's a very important question here at the top of this screen. We're just going to get right to it today. Can I trust the web? The quote says, "Don't believe everything you read." It's important to evaluate or assess the value of websites with a critical eye. Look at what the little guy is saying here. He was like, "What do you mean? All my facts are wrong. I copied everything straight off the internet." Boys and girls, yesterday we talked about multimodal text and how we can gain access to different types of text via different modes or by different means. Remember, we talked about listening. We can read it. We can have pictures, and we did an example of that yesterday using the Southern Cascade Glacier pictures, where you made emphasis and predictions about what happened with those photos over time. Well, I'm going to move back up here. This is a very, very important question. And as readers, we have to think about reliability. Okay, well, Ms. Johnson, what does that mean? Or credibility, right? When we're reading technical information. Let me ask you this. I want you to think about a time when you had a different opinion from someone else. Okay? You were disagreeing with them. And I want you to think about, how did you tell, or how did you and the other person determine who was actually right in the disagreement or the argument? How did you all determine who was correct? I want you to think about that for just a second. I want to submit to you that in some instances, when we're looking at people having two different perspectives, sometimes we may never be able to tell definitely whose opinion is quote unquote right. Okay? Now, yesterday you put yourself in the place of a scientist. And if you didn't know before, scientists actually have opposing views, or they disagree about events and the reasons for events in the science community. Okay, I want you to think that they sometimes have disagreements about science. Okay, and so I want you to think about this particular anchor chart that I'm going to show you here in just a second. Now, I spoke just a few minutes ago about credible, reliable, how do we tell? Here's a checklist. When you're on the web, okay, this is a little list that you can use to help you determine if a source is credible, if they're reliable, if they're trustworthy, okay? Now, as scientists, they have all of their information that they're putting out there on their website, and it may look really good, but there are some things that we need to consider, right? When we're looking at which side of the argument is potentially right. We want to look at, is the author of the source an expert? Just like with doctors, certain specialists, they get paid a little bit more because they've done a lot more study in that particular area, so they're considered to be an expert in that area, versus someone who has just done their, run-of-the-mill research. And they don't have a lot of evidence, and we've talked about that before, to back up what they are asserting or what they're claiming. We want to look at, is the information up to date? Is the purpose of the source to inform you as the reader and not sell you something? If you go to a website and there are a bunch of ads and things like that, that particular site or that particular scientist may be driven by the ads that are on his or her website. Okay? So you want to make sure that they're not, swaying you in a different direction because they have other motives. Okay? You want to ask yourself, are there many facts and details rather than opinions? It's very important to have facts and details versus opinions. And number 5, does the domain end with one of the following? edu, gov, and org. Normally, if a scientific website or any website, I would think for that matter, if it ends in .com, it's probably going to have ads that pop up, and that site is going to probably be driven by those ads versus sound research. Okay? Now, Ms. Johnson, what does all of this mean? Okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of extend what we did yesterday, where you pretended to be scientists. And we studied the Southern Cascade glaciers and how they changed over time. Today, I want you to put your scientific hat on again, and you're going to put on your researcher glasses, okay? And you are going to be looking at 2 websites, and you're going to be determining if you think they're credible or not, okay? And I'm going to show you the digital handout that you are going to be working on here in just a second, okay? All right, now that you have your researcher glasses on, you have your scientist hat on, I want you to look at this particular part of the digital handout. It says, within scientific communities, people are constantly debating explanations for events that happen in nature. And we kind of talked about that yesterday with why we thought the changes were happening in those photos, right? While most scientists believe that the earth is warming due to increased greenhouse gases, there is not universal consensus on the subject. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? That means not all scientists agree as to why this is happening, why the earth is warming. They are debating it, right? They have different points of view about it. So as you navigate the websites on global warming today, you are going to encounter many diverse perspectives, meaning you're going to encounter different points of view. Okay, that's the same thing that we talked about before, POV. You're going to look at different points of view. One website might feel that this is the reason. The other website might feel like this is the reason why global warming is happening. Okay? And the question is, how can you tell whose ideas are most credible? So let's look here at the great debate. Okay. So, we've got a debate going. One set of scientists believe humans are causing global warming by increasing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. That means humans are doing some stuff, that's causing this big issue that the earth is having right now, which is global warming. Well, on the other side of the debate, you have scientists in this column who say even though the earth is becoming warmer, this particular climate change is not primarily caused by human activity. So this column, all of these websites, they believe that it's us. We're causing this problem of global warming. But this particular column, all of these websites, they say, not so fast. I don't think that this whole thing with the earth becoming warmer is because of humans. So, Miss Johnson, what am I doing? You are going to be choosing one of these websites to visit today, okay? And you are going to answer 4 questions about the website. It tells you choose one of the websites above and answer this question. According to the website that you've chosen, what do they believe specifically causes global warming? And with that same website, you're going to answer the very next question. According to the website, what, if any, are the effects of global warming in that website's point of view, from their perspective? What do they say are the effects of global warming? Then you're going to scroll down to the second part of the digital handout, and you're going to answer question number 3. According to that same website, can people do anything about global warming? If so, what can they do? So you're going to be looking at that website and seeing if that website offers answers to these 4 questions. Okay? And the very last question, in your opinion, is this source credible to you? And then explain why you think that the website that you chose is reliable. They're truthful. You can stand on and believe what they have there. That's what you're going to do on that side of the debate. I'm going to scroll back up for you. And now remember, on this side of the great debate, these scientists believe that it's not humans. It must be something else that's causing the earth to heat up. So you're going to do the same thing. You're only going to choose one of the 4 websites. And you're going to use that one website to answer the same 4 questions on this side. Okay? Now, there is, if I scroll down just a little bit, there is a second section here. You will not get to this section today. We will work on this together, okay, on tomorrow, all right? And you will be working with partners again, just like you did yesterday, okay? And we're going to dive a little bit deeper and look at some of your responses from the first part of this digital handout. So I want to just tell you, we are not focused on this second part. You're only answering the 4 questions about the 2 websites that you chose. So again, you're going to choose one of these websites. Make sure that you highlight the one that you're choosing on this side. And you're going to choose one of these websites and make sure you highlight the one that you're choosing to help you answer the 4 questions, okay? So I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with as scientists in looking at global warming and the greenhouse effect. I have included a couple of anchor charts and videos for you just to provide you some background. And I'll show you those now. Back here in the Canvas course, and as usual, under your resources for learning, I just put a brief little anchor chart here just to give you a visual as to what global warming is, and that's just when the temperatures on Earth are increasing. Then I gave you another anchor chart about greenhouse gases, the different types that we emit as humans, okay, and this came from kidminds.org. And what I want you to do is review these anchor charts, and then you guys are going to watch 1, 2, 3 short videos just for a little bit of background information about evaluating websites for credibility purposes, You have a